There, it's Joelle at Brooklyn Book Doctor. Good afternoon if you're in the East Coast, and good morning if you're in the West Coast. I am going live today with Jules Davis, otherwise known as the Kitchen Healer. We're going to talk about her zigzaggy journey to a book deal, which she recently got. And as soon as she gets here, she will tell you herself all about what happened, how she got that deal, how we started working together. And it was not a straightforward process. And one of the reasons I want you to meet her and hear our conversation, okay, here she is to know that this can be the way of a book proposal. So Jules is going to ask to join, and we are going to get talking in just 1 second. There she is. Okay. Here she comes. Hi.
Hey, hi.
Hi.
How's it
It's
going?
going great. How are
Good,
you?
good. Beautiful to see you.
You too. There's that wall I love behind you. And look at all your hair.
It's amazing what can grow in the quarantine. Books, hair, so many things.
It can be a really fertile time. It is an incubating time.
Oh, that's awesome. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really great. Yeah.
Good.
It's raining and likely to freeze here. So that'll be
Oh,
fun
Lord. Oh, Lord.
later on
Right.
the
Okay.
sidewalks. Yeah.
Oh, I love
Yes.
seeing all my friends
I
joining. Hello,
know.
everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Hey, Molly. Molly's joining from the UK.
Oh, love
Um,
Molly from the UK. Love anyone from the UK. Oh, London calls, right?
oh, it's really great to see you.
Thank you. You too.
And I'm really looking forward to talking because we have so much to catch up on.
I know. It's been a
And
minute.
it's been a minute. It's been a minute. And also, it's not just for us to catch up. Of course, that'll be fun, but also to really talk about how your book, what your book journey was like. So I thought maybe we would start even before you introduce yourself. Just tell us about your book deal. Just briefly, briefly. I
And
just
what do you
I,
mean by
I
that?
like
You're going to walk me through the
tell us.
whole
Yeah, I'm going to walk you
interview.
through the whole thing. So I want to start with the end, and then I want to go back to the beginning. So just tell us um, the title of your book, when you got the book deal, and who it's with.
So the title of my book is still is still in the incubator. It's still in the crucible, but the proposal's name was, the Kitchen Healer, and then Nourish. Your body, your stories, your life, your kitchen, But of course, I'm writing my way to the title. Along with,
Yes.
I'm literally writing my way to every single moment after this moment. Is what it feels like. So I'll just permission all around. And that's so much about what the book is about. So my work and the movement of my work is permission, and the permission to nourish and what comes up to that. And in the many years that I called on you to even get to a sentence that actually makes sense and that people can actually hear as English, that's a feat. But I'm beautifully, beautifully matched with Sounds True, which my husband would continuously mantra around the house. Sounds true. Not quite sure what else I need to say to you. Sounds true. Um, and what was there was a third question.
um, right. So book title, book publisher. Oh, when you got the deal.
That happened. I mean, as you know, it kind of moves through, but I accepted the offer in, December. Actually, it was the exact date of the surgery of my mastectomy. So it's 2 year
Wow.
reunion. Of course, Spirit was
Wow.
like, let's do this on this date. And
Wow.
then and I'm big into story and how our stories and our invitations continue to hold us throughout our lives in how we offer our lives. So that happened, and then it's just gone through everything,
Great.
all the work and all the language that makes no sense in a contract. But I signed my name, and we're on,
Well,
we're off or we're on.
we're off, we're on.
Exactly.
We're running.
We're running towards it. We're running away from it. Oh, the book process.
That's
Yeah.
very well said.
Yeah.
Well,
It's real.
congratulations. It's
Thank you.
huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
And I know some of your journey, of course, because, yeah, there is a book. Exactly. There is a book. And it was going to be great because we worked together in
Mm,
2018. You were in the inaugural Book Proposal Academy. And I know there's Molly here is in Book Proposal Academy
awesome.
for this cohort, which is super exciting. And um, we, so, okay, so let me back us up a second. So just go back to something that you said recently, which is that your language and your process is very much something that you have worked with to translate it from movement, from a dynamic situation when you're in the kitchen with somebody or in a process with someone or having a cup of tea with someone or maybe even dancing on Instagram for your followers, and translating that into a book format, which is static and your audience is not there, and how do you communicate with them. So just to put that in context for people who are listening, when you did a TED Talk, it was everyone was cheering and yelling, and you were on that red dot on the stage, and it was very dynamic. And then when you were writing your sample chapters for the book proposal, it was I think the feedback I was often giving you was, this is very poetic, but how does it connect to the thing that came before or is
Right.
coming after, right?
Right.
And I want to highlight that not at all as a criticism, but really to talk about like that translation from you are so dynamic. Like that is really part of what not part of that is like that's very you. Like even the
Mm,
wall behind you is very dynamic. The work
mm,
you do is very dynamic. The way you feel comfortable communicating is very dynamic. And
mm.
then you're trying to encapsulate that in a book,
Right.
right? So that I would maybe say that that is your central tension in
Mm.
the book process. Am I getting that right at all?
I mean, I would say that. Yeah. I mean, you know, what I found in the proposal process, and again, you'll bring me in, which is why I would always constantly court you to
Yes,
please,
you
please
did.
take a
You
private
did.
jet that I can't afford to my house. Please, like maybe we'll figure out how we can go on retreat together, meaning
Yeah.
me craning you out of your apartment. Craning is now a new word. And so in the realms of healing and this work, you know, it's incredibly nonlinear and healing is nonlinear. And so what I found in the proposal and what ended up going into the proposal was actually naming the fact that I am pioneering a new genre that isn't around. Because you would ask in the course, you know, where does this go in the bookstore? And I'm like, everywhere. Okay, that doesn't help anybody that's never heard of you, or you know, and so that stayed with me. You know, those points on the map that you would ask. And you know, it feels like, you know, almost new motherhood where you're like, I can barely remember that time. And it was also pre the next journey I was invited onto with my body, which is of course such a big part of, I mean, it is my work, the body and the wisdom we carry. But in the realms of, you know, the proposal, it was like just naming what it was, like literally naming like that this has not been done before. We're not embodying and integrating healing inside our day-to-day lives. It's an event. It's something that, you know, we have to go on journey with. And that's true in many ways. I'm not going to say like I have the, you know, thing, but in this work, in being a kitchen healer, it is so dynamic. It's so wide. It's so deep. It's so not deep and wide. It's so nut and bolt and simple. And so, you know, from Woodboard Love, which could be a book in its own right, that would be very somewhat topical. And then when I invite you forward, once you've nourished into a much deeper realm of where are you allowing yourself to be held, you know, then you're like, essentially like, it's like, you know, I look in a drawer in the kitchen and everyone's so open until you open their drawer.
And
And then
what's
it's like,
in
you
there?
know, they'd rather go to a pap smear before you open the drawer that has all the, you know, mustard and ketchups from 17,000 years ago. And the reason why we're holding on to those things is there's a story there. And so that's just one entity of the work
Yeah.
that I've been, you know, I've been involved in for 15 years. So it's like every woman, every family carries so many stories, lineages, bloodlines. So it is a vast it's more vast than I kind of wanted it to be. Like, it would be easy if it was just like a catalog,
Right,
like a
right.
cliff note. So I was having a very, very hard time getting there, but I kept showing up to not knowing.
Yes.
I mean, that's really all I can say. And it was incredibly uncomfortable. Like, there was nothing comfortable about showing up to the unknown. And I still have, I'll show you, I have your notes from 4,000 years ago. This basket has come with me everywhere. It's like this beautiful African basket.
It is beautiful.
Of like all these things, like notes from not knowing anything. Like, agents I would talk to, people that would come and say, hey, are you going to write a book? And I think, oh my God, look, it's so fancy. Someone's interviewing
Courting
me.
you.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, sure, I'll do it. Oh, I'll do it once I get an agent 4 years later. I'll do it once and it was just like, I really couldn't figure it out. So I had to just keep showing up.
Yeah, exactly. That is really profound. Just keep showing up. It's so simple. And yet in the book journey, which can be ziggy and zaggy and up and down and sideways and back to front, keep showing up is actually the secret. That is the secret.
It's the secret sauce.
It's the secret sauce.
It's the secret in the secret sauce. And I'm still incredibly vulnerable forever just in the book process. Like, even having the yes to get on this live is like, well, I don't really know what I'm doing. And then, in the realms of healing, you never know what you're doing. In the realms of living, when you really surrender over to like living a super messy, gorgeous, delicious life, we don't know what we're doing, so it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. It's very much in that vein to the book proposal process, or the book process, because it is a creative act. And yet in that creative act, there's all this structure that has to happen. And I think that can be a kind of jarring juxtaposition for people. But I just want to stop for 1 second.
Yes.
And ask you to tell the people who've joined, like I know Devin is here, who I love. Hi, Devin.
Hi, Devin.
And he doesn't know what you do as a kitchen healer. So can you tell him what you do as a kitchen healer? What does that mean?
Well, I always say when people say it's the elevator pitch, I said, first I hit the emergency brake on the elevator and I keep you in there with me, and then I do the pitch, which is really a conversation. So in the realms of being a kitchen healer, the kitchen is the mother, right? It's the culture. It's a body. It's not just the heart of the home. It's the body of the home. It's how we nourish our lives. And so we think it's about food, but we know that all of us want to be in the kitchen, right? Funeral, marriage, whatever it is. And so inside the realm of that, I would say as a kitchen healer, what I'm really writing myself right into is that my work is really about permission and the permission to nourish our lives. We don't really have a culture that reflects permission. It's very transactional and topical. And so we're longing for the connection. That's the thing. We're longing for it. So we're buying stuff, we're doing stuff. Me too. And then we're not, we want to go further than how are you in the Trader Joe's line. We really do. But we don't know how to do it because we're an I culture. We don't live as a we. So this is kind of kitchen healing. Sure. Let's make a way that your kitchen reflects who you are and that you feel nourished by the space you live in. Sure. And then what goes deeper? What goes deeper? I love that Sounds True is going live.
I just saw that too.
Love you, Sounds True. And so it's just really, and it sounds true. That's the thing, is that I'm not speaking anything that you're like, what? It's like, oh yeah, the longing. And so women, and I know men too, but I don't know men because I'm not a man in this lifetime, and or them, or all of the realms in which we're walking in these bodies, we carry stories. And those stories kind of, they are who we become. They shape us. And so in how we create a kitchen, and whether we go in there or not, whether the kitchen feels like an airport or a hallway or the coziest, most cashmere womb, that's what we saw. What we saw is how we are. And we're making our way in healing and becoming, but we have to really look at those stories first of how we were nourished or not, which is usually a not, right? How we were nourished or not, because what was important. What was important was getting to work on time so that we could make the money, so we could pay the bills, so we could belong in the neighborhood, so we could. And I think we're dismantling that, a lot. And nourishing our lives kind of means we have to dismantle those stories.
So we look in the drawers and we
see, essentially, what do we see? We see scarcity. We see scarcity, right? The permission to nourish our lives opens the stories. It opens the story of the body. It opens the story of the body. I mean, okay, that's enough for 6 novels. The story of, and there's so many teachers in this, right? I'm not the only one, but what I am inviting us toward is that in the kitchen, with the fire, is where we can transform these stories in the day-to-day, not leaving our lives to go to India. I love it. I know you love traveling. It's huge. It's such a different thing, but I'm talking about that day-to-day. It's right here, right now, accessibility to being in the sacred mundane.
So not watching the show about cooking, but opening the drawer and looking at how many spoons do I have and how many spoons do I need? And
I mean, that's one part. Or buying the flowers, what are you waiting for? Get the cheese that you love. Do it. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
It's going to hurt you not to buy the cheese. So buy that damn cheese. No. Or put on the music while you're doing the dishes, or, obviously it goes deeper, but the things that we don't think to do that because we're in doing, but we're beings.
Yeah.
We're beings. And I want to invite us all, me too. I'm inviting me too, to being.
The kitchen and the place of the fire and the place of the stories is the place where we have an opportunity to be.
Exactly.
Right?
We can be, we can do, we can do to be, we can be to do, we can move our body. We can rewrite the stories, and we really can rebirth ourselves in there. You don't have to become, unfortunately our culture, which is one to dismantle here and there. I mean, I love so much of us. And, we think we think to stylize something is our, how we're going to look, and again, how we're going to belong. And, I can't send enough photos on what my sink looks like with the dishes inside. This book will be so much, and my editor really understands this. It's going to be messy. I want you to see what so you can go, me too.
Yeah.
Not, oh my God, how does that woman have that 80-acre ranch? Oh, she comes from the, Rockefellers. We're not talking about that group. I love them. Yes. And I would love to come to the farm. I'm speaking about the day-to-day in our lives where we can look at something visual and go, me too.
Yeah.
Me too, medicine.
Messy as it is, imperfect as it is, let's open the drawers, let's turn on the fire, let's get out a board and chop some fruit and nuts and cheese and put it out there and have a cup of tea and figure out what the stories are.
Totally.
Then
we'll get to the other stuff. We think it's going to heal it, right? That's what I say in the TED Talk, knowing is not going to feed the hunger. And I'll be on that bench trying to figure out so much, just staring at the wall and nothing's coming, everybody. But I would love to have a little tea while I'm staring at the wall and talk to Joelle and laugh about it. And then I'll feel lighter and I'll go, oh, you too? And then I'm lighter, and then a space is made, and then I go, oh, I'm actually sad, and I got to grieve it. Oh, let me do the dishes, and I'm going to cry while I do the dishes. And BD can come in and go, why are you crying? I'm crying because I'm sad. And it's going to go into the soup. And it's really okay.
Yeah.
Again, I just hit on 15 stories that we're carrying that we could never do. That would be terrible.
Right. Could never do. I just want to pause. This is so great conversation, and introduce you and me again.
Yes. Hi. I think I'm Joelle and you're Jules. It
Sure,
doesn't
we can
matter.
swap.
My
We can do
body's
this
your body. We're the same.
dynamically.
Yeah, totally.
Right. You can be in Brooklyn in the snow, and I will be in California in the sun.
Yes, exactly. It's cloudy
Uh,
today, but
it
it'll be sunny
okay,
soon.
okay. Well, warmth then.
Exactly.
Warmer than
Yes.
30 degrees, what it is here.
Yes.
So I'm Joelle at Brooklyn Book Doctor. I'm in Brooklyn, appropriately, and Jules Davis is in Encinitas or somewhere around there.
No, oh my God, that
Oh
is not, it's
gosh.
so
Oh
funny. It's like a
gosh.
horoscope.
Oh
So you're like, I
no.
am not a Pisces, but I love them. I'm a Leo and I am in Los Angeles.
Okay, okay, okay. And Jules is the kitchen healer, and you probably hear because you know her, but if you don't know her, you can find her on Instagram at Jules Blaine Davis, correct?
Yeah, it's Jules B. Davis. It didn't
Jules
all
B. Davis.
fit,
Oh, it did.
but that's nothing
That's
new.
so you. It didn't all fit.
Exactly. Unbutton your pants and let's get going. You know what I mean? Like meaning for freedom, not anything beyond
Or to
that.
be full, be full.
To be full and hungry for more.
You know, that
Sounds good.
waistband gets a little tight when you're just eating
Yeah.
delicious
You don't need
things.
to figure it out or sacrifice later. Just let it be.
Just do it now. Just sit
Exactly.
down, pull up a chair.
Oh, I love us.
I know, it's so fun. So when we started working together way back in 2018 is when we officially worked together, but you were definitely courting me for a little bit before
Oh,
that.
I feel like it was many years.
Yeah.
It was many years. I think I also wrote on the you should write a book memo. All of us are writing on some story or 10, but I was definitely on the carpet of like, I should. And, writing a book and should write a book are incredibly different. They're incredibly different stations on the
They're
radio.
incredibly different. Well, you came to it
Oh, that's
because
sweet, Devin.
yeah, Devin is
Oh, I'd love to be your friend. I am your
I think
friend.
it's already
What are we
happening. It's
talking about? It's
happening
already
right
happening.
now
I
in
love us.
live time right now. You so you had an agent and you did a TED Talk. What order did that happen in? You did the TED Talk, you got the agent, you
Oh
did the TED
no,
Talk.
I did a TED Talk. Let's say I don't know when that was, but it was maybe 2016 or 17. Um, I was in conversation with Goop a lot, and
Right.
then I did the TED Talk, and I would say, if you're looking at a pinnacle of a work, I had been doing this work a really long time, and it was like underground, like it was, and this was also because of the nonlinear nature of it. Like people still today are like, "How's the catering?" I'm like, "Great, whatever you got to say." And it's not their fault, like it literally is like nothing I said, like I can't tell you how many years was like, I circle women in the kitchen. What? You put circles around women in the, I mean, like the language and the time, they weren't aligned. I was ahead of my time or behind my time or whatever I was. It wasn't aligning. Like I didn't have the language. And then Brene Brown and all the women came with, grief as a Me Too medicine, but also, it started a trend to be vulnerable and to use the language.
Mm-hmm.
And then as that came, people started to get a little closer to me at the farmer's market. They'd be like, weren't you talking something about grieving and a soup? I'm like, sure. But I would say that, yeah, the TED Talk was, I think, 16 or 17, 2016 or 17. And I was courting you. I mean, I had heard about you through Kimberly Johnson, who, was like coming up to a space that I was teaching at. And, we all knew each other before books and Starlight fame. And we were all naming things that, were, I would say, under the covers a bit. Right. And then mine is, I just, with my life and my family and, and I'm right on time. And so it was just really a matter of knowing
Yes.
that. And again, like I said, showing up to the unknown. And then after the Goop articles and a lot of that exposure, essentially like them coming down to my basement and putting a light on and being like, we've finally met the kitchen healer and this is what she's about. Then editors started calling me and or they didn't call my phone because they didn't have my number, but they wrote me. And then I found an agent through the woman that approached me about writing a book. And I knew I was going to write I know I'm going to write many books. It was just a matter of this first nonlinear book into something linear. Like I'm right now writing the movement chapter, and I can't tell you how much resistance is there. Like, how do you write about movement in
Right.
words to then, and again, I'm forever ringing the fantasy bell. Like I'll be the first one to edit out anything that feels like, and then this, I'm like, oh my God, pierce that right now. Like that's so not a Tuesday at 2:00. Like, so anyway, the agent came later.
Okay.
And it was awesome to get her support with that. And then she didn't know what to do with my proposal, to be completely honest. I was exclusive with her, and she was a very high end, a very big name. And so that was like so exciting to me. And I just thought, oh, well, it'll be that and other things. And I totally thought the proposal process would be like, once I finally birth this thing, it would be a bidding war. I mean, like, I just had fantasy all over it. It was super fun. Until no one, came forward. No, sounds true. And that's all my husband needed to say. He's like, I don't know how it could be anything else but not knowing anything about it. Just the name,
Okay, I have so many questions.
Okay, go for
it. Okay, so are you, wow, is that the best one? Oh, yeah, let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Are you still with that agent, or did you?
Yes,
you are. Okay.
She has stuck with me, and she didn't know she told me I didn't know anything until you actually spoke with this editor at Sounds True. Like she was like, I really get it now. And I see how so many of those people could never have been on that Zoom call. They would have had no idea what the hell you guys were talking about. So yeah, she pulled in the reins in the template of a proposal. But, I had to meet the floor. I had to meet the floor, and I had to meet the fire, and I had already on the journey with my body and the unknown. And I mean, truly, it was spirit that said, and it's not like necessarily Jesus Christ, even though love him, that really came through and was like, you need to make this work accessible. And so really, it was really a much deeper relationship than what am I going to write? Like I moved out of the way completely.
Oh, that is amazing. Okay. I want to come back to that. I also want to ask you, so you worked with me in Book Proposal Academy in the inaugural.
Kept courting you. And knew I needed to work with you privately. Couldn't figure out how to get a private jet. Yes. Was going to come to Peru or wherever the hell you were.
Right, exactly. Track her down.
Help me and write this, essentially.
Right, exactly. It's funny because I had forgotten that part, but now I remember very clearly.
Oh yeah, no, I was essentially a loving stalker.
You were. And actually, now that you say that, that has been the case for a couple of people, and that has helped me a lot. Although I didn't get on a private jet and come and work with you in one-to-one, no. It did make me do other things. And so I'm actually really grateful for that.
Oh, that's amazing.
So next question, because I want to talk about your proposal process a little bit.
Yes.
But first of all, the proposal that you sold the book on, is it the same one or has it changed? I mean, it sounds like it has at least some.
Oh, it became a completely different book.
Okay. So how did that happen?
And now I don't even know if the book is going to match I mean, like, it's really interesting how when you show up, it's just like, oh, this is what needs to be said, I definitely hired support. I am all about a team, no matter what, no matter how, make it happen. When we want something, we are phenomenal at manifesting. And so I found a coach through a person I didn't even know, through another person I didn't know. I mean, I just called it in. And I had a coach, and then I had a dear friend also writing, had just sold her proposal, so was in that place. And I had a little team. And but the proposal, because of the journey that I went on, I was invited onto essentially the island of mortality. So it was a very, very deep journey.
Yes.
And so anything that I thought I was, or it gets burnt in the fire.
And that happened during BPA.
Yeah. And then I left that.
Do you want to tell people what that means?
And went into, sure. No, I ended up having an incredibly, very, very unknown invitation, really is what I call it, that landed in my breast, which is the left breast, which is the breast of the mother. And and I've been a healer probably forever and been a steward of my body forever. And so anything happening, to me was very like, what that, it just dismantled every fantasy or story that I had around health or controlling my health, or, whatever we carry. And it really set me right. I mean, that's, unfortunately you break something and then it gets set, possibly in the right way. And,
Right.
and I'm not saying,
That's a difficult resetting.
it's a difficult I mean, mortality is the most frightening experience, and I will live with the unknown now forever, because what I received was an invitation that had no research. And so it's enormous, and it will be another book, because how you nourish that experience is a very, very deep and wide journey. And so part of the proposal, I couldn't get back to the old one because I had changed. Right. So it was like, okay, but you can't just start out with this. I mean, no one knows who the hell you are. And like, it's so important to, right the beginning, because there's so much to the kitchen healing work that is so powerful and awesome without a journey to mortality. I mean, like like life is already hard. You know what I mean? Like I was already speaking to, and then, and then the pandemic, which is, everyone's getting cancer, like it's that feeling. Right. And so it was so huge that it was like, no, I'm fucking doing this. Like, I don't care what else comes. Like, this is the time for this book. So the proposal shifted completely, because I had to get completely out of the way to hear what needed to be shared. And that's how I work now.
Totally. So let me just recap for people, because it is a really fascinating process. And also one thing, and it's really understandable that people come to the book process thinking, I'm ready to write the book. So I have to do a proposal first because it's a nonfiction book. Okay, so I'm going to write the proposal, then I'm going to get an agent, then I'm going to get a deal, then my book's going to come out, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that was not the case in your case.
No.
At all. And you did the things, like you were on Goop and you were on a TED Talk and you got this highfalutin agent and you came to get professional help and you had a team, and all these things are like, yes, definitely the things that you want to do. And then you got a breast cancer diagnosis.
Yeah,
and by the way,
it was a cancer in my breast. It wasn't your basic breast cancer. I mean, that's kind of not that there is a basic one, but it was a cancer in my breast, which is different to science and research, is because it's a cancer that actually rarely shows up in the breast.
Interesting.
So, and it's a real, like, I'm so grateful that it showed up there. And so, it's a really unknown 1 out of 10 in the world, like come out of nowhere kind of thing that I feel like was definitely a very, very deep connection to how and where and everything that's literally coming out of my mouth today.
So it launched you on this in a sort of a dark, like you're saying, mortality way. It launched you on this hero's journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
And coming out of that, I mean, this is very simplistic because I'm sure many things happen on this journey.
Oh, sure.
As but they do. Coming out of it on the other side was, okay, the book that I was trying to write, that is my life's work, and it represents what I do with clients and what the agent saw me do, and what the TED people saw me do. Actually, that has to shift, because now that book doesn't make sense anymore.
Exactly. Yeah, it didn't make sense to me, and it was really not to the core, like I was going to try to write it so people could understand it. And that really is not how I work. Yeah. I just invite you in. I don't need to ask you if you're hungry, because I know you already are. I know you're me and I'm you. I know this breast is really your breast too. Yeah. It's the world. It's the pandemic. Like, I know things now that are just so closer. They're closer to the soil. Yeah. Like they're actually not knowing.
Right.
It's a not knowing. Like, I know nothing. And so I had to really literally start the work from there. And my biggest thing now is so much about, like, my husband, we take these walks and he's like, don't write 8 books in the one book. I love you. Like, there's 40 books in you, even on a 40-minute walk. Can you please not? I'm like, this is what I'm sitting with today. And like, he's, he turns into like a leaf. I'm like, where'd you go? But it's really in the unknown. And so it's all aligned. Like, my healing team, my one matriarch healer, she was like, well, this is going to be a different book, isn't it? And so when I knew, and I had to wait. I had to wait for recovery. I continue to have anxiety, obviously about dying, and COVID isn't helping, but like just to keep inviting that forward and giving it a T, and it just gives more language. It gives more life to this life. It gives so much more, like, I'm so, it brings emotion, because it's like, I like, living is so unknown.
Yeah.
And
right.
so, like, to
Right.
lean in, like,
Right.
as much as we can. And I don't mean like get the jet, but maybe I do. I don't know. I'm still going to get a jet,
I'm still
Joelle.
waiting for the jet.
Exactly. Okay, I probably went way. I'm like in Poland right now. Bring me back. Bring me back.
Okay. No, that was really great. I mean, what I wanted to highlight for people listening is that life happens, and books have to follow what is the real book that needs to happen for you at the moment. So you went in this one direction, and then
Right.
the cancer happened, and then you're faced with your mortality in a very strong way. And the book is not dead at all. So it could seem, I remember
Totally.
talking to you, I think it was in 2019. So after Book Proposal Academy, and you're like, what am I supposed to do? I don't think this book makes sense anymore.
Oh, yeah.
And
I'm remembering that now. I forgot
yeah,
that.
we had this conversation, and I think that the challenge can be to stay with the unknowing, like you're saying, and to pursue it not with a feeling of, well, I failed at that project, or like my life's work, I can't put it into a book format, because it's
Right.
actually not true. It's just that this other life came in with this different message for you, which changed the direction of the book. And that's not a failure. That's a reconfiguration of what was trying to happen. And I
Oh,
just,
it's
right?
yeah. A failure is just an invitation to go deeper, right? So it's a fake, actually. Failing is a fake idea.
It is a
It
fake
really,
idea.
it's totally
Yes,
fake.
it's a
And
fake
I
idea.
feel like I'm totally in the unknown every fucking day that I show up to the book. Like,
Yeah.
every morning I have a very early morning practice, because there's a whole nother life that goes on here in the daytime. And so, I get up at 5, and, all of it is writing the book.
Yeah.
Every single thing, I'm writing the book. I have been writing the book for a decade or
Yeah.
more. I've been
Yeah.
writing the book my whole life. The book, I think it's, again, we're always going to find ourselves in permission. And I think the more you can connect with your community, that's the beauty of your class. I would be in touch with Sabine every now and then, and just really, like, connecting with, wow, this is freaking hard. My dear friend is writing a book right now, and I'm just like, I am so lost. I'm writing something called Chapter 3 that literally could be in the glossary. I have no idea. I don't even think I'm going to have a glossary. And I don't even know where that word came from. But I'm talking to you, and you have all these books behind you. And she'll just be
Including
like,
7A's. Look.
I know, I see it. And I think, like, to myself, this is so crazy. Like, who would do this? Like, this is so crazy. And she's like, oh my God, you're saying exactly what, and just that, the next day I can get back on the screen,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yes. So it is a process of going into the unknown and being comfortable with the unknown, which is inherently uncomfortable. And just for context, you and Sebene were in the same Book Proposal Academy together. She's a breast cancer survivor.
She's so in the unknown deeply.
And
She's amazing.
she's an incredible insight meditation teacher.
Oh,
And she did have that trajectory of Book Proposal Academy, agent, sale, book deal, write the book. And she, as someone who is comfortable with the unknown because of meditation, her meditation practice, and her teaching work in that way, she also said that being in the unknown of the book writing was challenging for her too. So
yeah,
it is part of the process.
it is. It is. And, talking about it, and yeah, me too. And anybody that's listening is like, totally. And then when I sit down at 5:30 with my tea, and I just finally get into that, yummy crisscross applesauce on my chair, and the pillow's just right, and I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing? Am I writing anything good? Like, does this even matter? Are they going to get it? Is it? And then I'm like, okay, all of you, scurry out. Bye-bye. Thank you. thanks for coming. I'm going to light a candle now, and I'm going to ask the fire to hold all of your not knowing so I can actually, be a vessel for what needs to come through. And really, if anyone is here in that process, I would say that's the thing that's literally saving my life. I mean, that's how I serve as a holder, and I can't say I'm doing great as a mother in that way, but I mean, like, I'm working on that, we really are bodies. We're bodies.
Yeah.
And we're not just heads walking around hoping to know something. Like, we really are bodies, and our bodies are our elders. And so we really need to make room for them to speak. And so it's through this that I can, do that and cross every finger that
Well, I love that ritual of you're naturally getting up early and you get all your things around you, your tea and your favorite seat and your pillow, and you have your setup.
Yes.
And then there is that process of greeting those voices.
Yes.
And you have a process for dealing with that. Light the candle, let them just hang out there while you go into, like Devin is saying, the uncertainty
exactly,
of
Devin.
what's going to happen that day on the page.
That's it. Yeah. And I mean, I think that's really, writing is living, like, that's really how are we living? It's like, these are the ways, just offering ourselves over and over again, one day at a time, one word at a time, I mean, it's all of those things support that. I always say, to create, like, my office is, it's a place of loving. Everywhere I look, I feel loved by what I intentionally, like, the books and what I read and because that stuff is going to get in the cracks anyway, I'm not hearing from that person. Like, I wonder if I hurt their feeling. Oh, let that ruminate for 30 minutes while, my editor's waiting for chapter 4. I mean, like, that's not going to do it. Like, I have to allow for the grief and then be like, I'll get to you later or never. And let's write the book. It's like, and so I'm in a very vulnerable place. I'm in the beginning of writing the book right now. I've done 1 and 2, but again, I say it out loud and I'm like, have I done 1 and 2? I don't know. I don't even know if any of that stuff is going to even be in the book. I mean, it's such an unknown process.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, really.
Well, if I can offer
please.
some insight into that.
Yes.
The best thing you can do is just vomit out those chapters. Really make it a physical thing. Do a dance around your table, sit down, and then just whatever comes out, comes out.
Amazing.
And because it's much easier to work with something that's on the page than something that's not on the page. And that can give you a place to start. So you don't feel alone in the process. You've got some words there, and they're there to help you.
I love that permission to just, go for it. And again, I'm always wondering, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I know people are like, yeah. And then they're like, I don't know what just happened. That would be the normal, like, post conversation with me is like, that was amazing. I felt like my core self was present. And well, what happened? Who is she? I don't know. Okay. Well, with the book, it's going to be important that people can be like, it's this, go buy it, like, or whatever, like to really change our ways or heal or support or I love that. Just write it.
Yep. Just write, and then go back and shape and
go back and shape. Yes.
Let the unknown speak, and then go back and make it something that translates for those people who are like, I want to know what just happened.
And I would say that I am a shaper as I'm doing that. And I think that's where I get caught is like,
you're not
I'm
alone.
shaping as I go. Yeah. And that really, it's tiring actually is what it is. Like when you're kind of like, you're running for the first time and then you're like, how am I running? It's like, how about just run, and like, so yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's this thing of like, well, you have a book contract now and you got a book to write. So you better be serious, Jules, and do this in the serious way.
Right. I've never had a boss. Like this is really my first time of like having anything
boss.
Other than my clients, but it's my own, I'm an entrepreneur. So like, I kind of, you make it what you want to, but then it was like the date of the thing, and I'm like, ah. But it's also exciting, it's exciting.
It's well deserved. I'm so excited for your book,
Oh,
and not
thank
to put
you.
any pressure on you, but I can't wait to see it. And I'm
Mm,
super happy for you. I know this has been a long journey, and I
thank
know
you.
how meaningful it is also to View Sounds True, which seems like a great home for
Mm,
you and for the book. It's a publisher with a lot of integrity and very aligned with your mission in life.
yes,
Um,
it's
so
exciting.
it's very exciting. Oh, do you know what year is it coming out?
It's
2023?
coming out 2022. No, it's fall 20,
Okay.
and
Oh,
I'm
great.
really, they're pioneering a new genre too, because the book is going to be, it's many things. It's poetry, it's visual,
Wow.
it's stories, it's essentially that, you know, essentially integrating, embodying, like a book that really is about, embodying our lives. And
Yeah.
so it'll have the four color, and
Great.
so it really is going to have all those things, and
Mm,
I hadn't seen that from Sounds True before.
hmm.
And so in our, some of our meetings, it was like, well, I'm looking like a Faye Dawn book with the depth and the, and those books are really deep with visual, but also, there, it just hadn't been, it's not been made yet, like
Great.
that
You're on the
cookbook
cutting
or what
edge.
memoir, whatever, what hasn't been created yet. So it's exciting to see
Great.
that they're going to be kind of breaking the seal with me.
Awesome.
So
That is
yeah,
so exciting. That's
yeah,
fantastic. It really is the right moment.
it feels right.
And
Yeah,
after all that zigzagging roundabout, it was not roundabout. It was not zigzagging. It actually was
right.
the perfect thing.
Yeah, it's our minds that want to decide what it is. But
Yeah.
when we get into our bodies, there's a sense of wisdom there that really can, it's a practice.
It's practice.
It's a practice, and you can't fail in a
No,
practice.
no. Right,
You just
exactly.
can't. So,
Exactly. Well, this has been so fantastic to talk to you.
oh, Joelle, thanks for having me. This was
I
so fun. I haven't gone
so
on live
fun.
in a while. I've
Oh,
been
you haven't?
missing being live. I was
Oh,
doing a lot of lives during the pandemic in the beginning, and so it was really sweet to see some wonderful humans that I know come on
yes.
and
Thanks for
meet Devin
everyone.
and your
Yeah.
friends. And I just, wherever I can serve and support, you let me know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'm going to tap you, Jules.
Yes, tap
And
me.
I'm going to knock on your door. And for all the people who joined, thank you so much for coming today. And yeah, see someone saying missing your lives.
Yeah.
And I just want to say that I have a short program coming up. It's not as long
Love
as the Book
you.
Proposal Academy. It is a 4-week program called Develop Your Book Idea and Get Writing. It's sort of a little bite rather than a whole meal. And it will help any of you who have a book idea in mind but are not sure where to start. You don't know which idea to go with. You don't know what the entryway is into your book. This will help you to get clear on that. And the link's in my bio, of course, so you can read more about it there, hear some testimonials, and someone saying 2022 is too long to wait.
It
Yes,
really is.
unfortunately, books are a slow process, so we just have to savor until we can get there.
Totally. I'm handing it in the summer, so it's
Yeah,
like crazy, right? That I'm going to
yeah,
be in editing for that long, and it's a
yeah.
trip, that process, Joelle.
Yes, it is. Yes, it's technology from another time.
Oh yeah, it is. But it's exciting, and it'll be the right time, as we know, right?
It will be something will happen in the world that makes everybody want this book.
Oh, thanks, Joelle. I just want to support everyone in the ways that we can, right? We're doing it. I will
Yes.
savor the way to love you.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jules. And
Thanks, Joelle.
thanks everyone for being here. And this was just so much fun. And
Oh, so fun.
congratulations. So happy
Thank
for
you.
you.
Thank you. Okay, talk to you soon.
Okay.
Okay, big love.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.